Admiral Ho stood before the great window of the diplomatic vessel. His hands rested behind his back. His eyes watched the stars pass by slowly. Each star held worlds. Each world held life. And none of them believed what was coming. The ship moved through space toward the Galactic Council station. It was a massive structure built by 12 different species over thousands of years. Towers of glass and metal stretched in all directions. Ships from 100 worlds docked along its edges. It was meant to show unity. It was meant to show strength. Ho saw only arrogance. Behind him, Ambassador checked her documents one more time. She was younger than him by 20 years. Her black hair was tied back in a simple style. Her face showed worry that she tried to hide. "They will not listen," Ho said without turning around. Looked up from her work. "We have to try. The evidence is clear. The patterns match exactly what happened 400 years ago." 400 years ago, humanity stood alone, Ho replied. "We had no allies, no help. We fought the void swarm by ourselves and barely survived. Do you know what the council said when we told them about it?" Was quiet, she knew the answer. "They said we were liars," Ho continued. "They said primitive species like humans could never defeat such a threat. They said we made up stories to seem important." "That was a long time ago," said softly. "Maybe they have changed." Ho finally turned to face her. His eyes were tired but sharp. "Species do not change, Ambassador. They only reveal what they always were." The ship docked at the council station an hour later. Guards from 6 different species escorted them through long hallways. The walls showed images of great victories. None of them included humanity. Earth had joined the Galactic Council only 50 years ago. They were the members, the youngest species. In the eyes of the older races, humans were children playing at being adults. The council chamber was enormous. Seats rose in circles around a central platform. Representatives from all 12 member species sat in their designated areas. Some looked like insects. Some looked like living stones. Some had tentacles or wings or too many eyes. At the center of it all sat the High Speaker. His name was, he belonged to the species. They were tall and thin with pale blue skin. They believed themselves to be the race in the galaxy. Ho walked to the speaking platform, followed close behind him. "Admiral Ho of Earth," said, his voice echoed through the chamber. "You requested this emergency session. The Council grants you permission to speak. Make it quick. We have important matters to discuss." Ho looked around the chamber. So many faces, so many species, all of them staring at him like he was a pet doing a trick. "High Speaker," Ho began. "Members of the Council, I bring a warning that cannot wait. Our deep space sensors have detected movement in the outer regions. Movement that matches records from our history, records of the void swarm." The chamber erupted in noise. Some representatives laughed. Others made sounds of disbelief. Raised his hand and silence returned. "The void swarm," repeated. "The enemy that your species claims to have defeated alone. The enemy that no one else has ever seen." "They were real," Ho said firmly. "They consumed everything in their path, ships, stations, entire planets. They do not negotiate, they do not stop, they only feed. And your primitive ancestors somehow stopped them." Another council member spoke up. He was of the, his rocky body shifted as he laughed. "Forgive me, human, but this sounds like a story told to children." "It is not a story," stepped forward. "We have data, we have sensor readings. The energy signatures match exactly. They are coming and they will reach council space within 6 months." "6 months," said thoughtfully. "And what would you have us do? Build massive fleets? Prepare for war against an enemy that may not exist?" "Yes," Ho answered, "exactly that." More laughter filled the chamber. Admiral spoke with false patience. "Humanity has been part of this council for 50 years. In that time, you have proven to be a nervous species. You see threats everywhere. You build weapons when you should build art. You prepare for war when you should prepare for peace. We prepare because we have learned, Ho replied. We have learned that the universe does not care about peace. It does not care about art. It only cares about survival. How very primitive, smiled. Ho felt anger rise in his chest. He pushed it down. Anger would not help here. Nothing would help here, but he had to try. I am going to say this one time, Ho said slowly. One time, and I want every species here to remember my words. The void swarm is real. They are coming. When they arrive, they will not ask questions. They will not accept surrender. They will consume your worlds the same way they tried to consume ours. And if we do nothing, asked with amusement, then you will die, Ho said simply. All of you, every species, every world, every child, they will die screaming while your great council stations burn. Silence filled the chamber. For a moment, Ho thought maybe he had reached them. Maybe fear had finally broken through their pride. Then laughed. Thank you for this entertainment, Admiral said. The council has heard your warning. We have decided to do nothing. There is no evidence of any threat. There is only the paranoid imagination of a species that has not learned to live in peace. Grabbed Ho's arm. Please, she whispered. Try again, make them understand. Ho looked at her. Then he looked at the council, at their smiling faces, at their superior attitudes, at their complete refusal to see what was right in front of them. No, he said quietly. They have made their choice. Now they will live with it. He turned and walked toward the exit, hurried after him. Admiral called out, Are you leaving so soon? Do you not wish to beg some more? Ho stopped at the door. He did not turn around. High Speaker, when the void swarm comes for your world, remember this moment. Remember that we warned you. Remember that you laughed. He walked through the door without another word. On the ship back to Earth, sat in silence for a long time. Ho stood at his usual spot by the window. What do we do now? Finally asked. We prepare, Ho answered. We build our defenses, we ready our fleets, and when the council burns, we decide if their screams are worth answering. Felt a chill run down her spine. Would we really let them die? Ho was quiet for a long moment. Ask me again when their worlds are falling. Ask me when the species who called us liars beg for our help. Then I will give you my answer. The ship flew on through the stars. Behind them, the council station glowed with lights and life. 6 months from now, that light would be gone, and only then would they understand that some warnings should never be ignored. 6 months passed like water through open fingers. The Galactic Council continued its meetings. They discussed trade routes. They argued about territory. They celebrated festivals and honored ancient traditions. They did everything except prepare. On Earth, things were different. Commander Wu stood in the central command room of Earth's orbital defense station. Screens covered every wall. Each screen showed something important: fleet positions, weapon systems, supply lines, everything humanity had built over the past 6 months. Wu was 43 years old. His face was marked by years of service. His body was strong despite the gray in his hair. He had served Earth for 20 years. He had seen combat against pirates and rebels, but nothing in his past could prepare him for what was coming. Report, he said calmly. A young officer named One turned from her console. Long-range sensors show the void swarm has entered council space. They passed the outer colonies 2 hours ago. And the colonies? One hesitated. Gone, Commander, all of them. 8 worlds, 40 billion people just gone. Wu closed his eyes for a moment. 40 billion lives ended in 2 hours. It was a number too big to understand, too terrible to imagine. Have we received any communication from the Council? Nothing official, One answered. But we are picking up thousands of distress signals. They are using every channel, every frequency. They are begging anyone to help them. Not us specifically. No, Commander, just anyone who will listen. Wu nodded slowly. Even now, with their worlds burning, the Council could not bring themselves to ask humanity for help. Their pride was stronger than their fear. Far across the galaxy, the void swarm moved like a dark cloud through space. They were not ships in any normal sense. They were living things, creatures of impossible size that fed on energy and matter. Each one was as large as a city. Together, they numbered in the millions. Where they passed, nothing remained. They consumed stars. They devoured planets. They turned entire solar systems into empty darkness. They were the first to fall. High Speaker stood in his private chambers when the first attack came. Alarms screamed through the station. The walls shook from impacts. Through the window, he could see his fleet fighting against the swarm. It was not a battle, it was a slaughter. Warships fired their weapons. Missiles and beams struck the swarm creatures. Some of them died. But for every one that fell, 100 more took its place. The creatures wrapped around ships and crushed them. They ripped through armor like paper. They consumed everything. Watched his fleet die in minutes. "No," he whispered. "This cannot be happening. This was just human nonsense, just stories." His aide rushed into the room. "High Speaker, we must evacuate. The swarm is approaching the station." "Where can we go?" asked. "Where is safe?" "Nowhere," the aide answered honestly. "We have contacted every council species. Their fleets are either destroyed or too far away. We are alone." Felt something he had never felt before. True fear. The kind that made his legs weak and his thoughts scatter. "Contact Earth," he said suddenly. "They warned us. Perhaps they will help." The aide looked at him with sad eyes. "I already tried, High Speaker. They are not answering." On the defense station orbiting Earth, one looked up from her console. "Commander, we have a direct message from High Speaker. He is asking for humanitarian assistance." Wu walked to the main screen. His face appeared on it. The proud alien leader looked broken. His blue skin was pale. His eyes showed terror. Commander Wu spoke quickly. "I speak on behalf of the Galactic Council. We request immediate military support. The threat you warned us about has proven real. We need your help." Wu looked at the screen for a long moment. He remembered the council chamber. He remembered the laughter. He remembered calling humanity primitive. "High Speaker," Wu replied calmly. 6 months ago, Admiral Ho stood before your council and begged you to prepare. You called him a liar. You called humanity paranoid. You laughed at us." "I know," said desperately. "I know what we did. But please, millions are dying. Children are dying. You cannot let us burn for our pride." "We did not let you burn," Wu answered. "You chose to burn. You chose to ignore the warning. Every death is a result of your choice, not ours." "Please," begged. "I am sorry. The council was wrong. I was wrong. But do not punish the innocent for the mistakes of their leaders." Wu felt the weight of the moment pressing down on him. Behind him, one and the other officers watched in silence. They all knew what was at stake. They all knew what the right answer should be. But they also remembered. "Your transmission has been received," Wu said finally. "Earth will consider your request. Until then, I suggest you run." He ended the communication. One stood up from her seat. "Commander, with respect, should we not help them? They are dying out there." "They mocked us for 4 centuries," another officer spoke up. His name was Sung Ho, and his grandfather had fought in the First Void Swarm War. "They called our ancestors liars. They said our sacrifices never happened." "That does not mean we should let billions die," one argued. "No," Wu agreed. "It does not. But I am not the one who makes this decision. That responsibility belongs to Admiral Ho and the Earth Council. Until they decide, we maintain our positions." The screens showed the swarm spreading across council space. World after world went dark. Species that had existed for millions of years were wiped out in hours. The proud tried to fight with their stone bodies. The swarm consumed them anyway. The graceful tried to flee with their fast ships. The swarm caught them anyway. Nothing could stop them. Nothing except weapons that humanity had built long ago. Weapons designed specifically for this enemy. Weapons that the Council had called unnecessary. On Earth, Admiral Ho watched the reports in his private office. Ambassador sat across from him. Her face was wet with tears. "How many?" she asked quietly. 200 billion so far, Ho answered. "The number grows every hour." "And we just sit here," his voice cracked. "We just watch them die." "They had 6 months to prepare," Ho said coldly. "They did nothing. They laughed and did nothing." "But the children," whispered. "The families. The innocent people who never mocked us, who never even heard of Earth. How can we let them die for the sins of their leaders?" Ho did not answer. He stared at the screen showing the destruction. He thought about his own children. The future he was trying to protect. "If we send our fleet now," continued, "we can still save some of them. We can push the swarm back. We can buy time." "And if we lose our fleet," Ho asked, "if Earth falls because we spent our strength saving those who would never save us, what then?" Stood up and walked to his desk. She placed her hands flat on the surface and looked into his eyes. "Then we die knowing we tried," she said. "We die knowing we were better than them. We die as humans, not as monsters who watched the galaxy burn and did nothing." Ho held her gaze for a long time. Outside his window, Earth turned slowly in the darkness of space. Blue and green and white, beautiful and fragile, the last hope of humanity. But also the last hope of everyone else. "You ask me to risk everything," Ho said slowly. "Everything we have built, everything we are." "Yes," admitted. "I ask you to risk it all, because that is what humans do. We help, even when it hurts, even when it costs us everything. That is who we are." Ho closed his eyes. The weight of command had never felt heavier. Every choice had consequences. Every decision meant life or death for billions. When he opened his eyes again, they held a new determination. "Call Commander Wu," he ordered. "Tell him to assemble the fleet commanders. We need to have a discussion." Felt hope bloom in her chest. "You will help them." "I will listen," Ho corrected. "And then I will decide. But know this, Ambassador. Whatever choice I make, the galaxy will never be the same. Whether we help them or abandon them, Earth will be remembered for this moment forever." He looked at the burning stars on his screen. So many lights going dark. So many voices falling silent. "Let us hope we choose wisely." 3 days of silence. 3 days while the galaxy burned. 3 days of screams filling every communication channel while Earth said nothing. Commander Wu had not slept in 48 hours. His eyes were red and tired. His uniform was wrinkled. But he remained at his post in the command center, watching the endless stream of data flowing across the screens. Captain stood beside him. She was 30 years old with sharp eyes and a quick mind. She had served under Wu for 5 years. She had never questioned his orders before. Today was different. "Commander," she said quietly, "the death toll has passed 500 billion. 500 billion souls crying for help while we sit in the dark." Wu did not look away from the screens. "I am aware of the numbers, Captain." "Then why are we still here? Why are our fleets still in formation around Earth? We have the power to help. We have the weapons designed specifically for this enemy. Every hour we wait, millions more die." "The Admiral has not given the order." "Then the Admiral is wrong," said firmly. The command center went quiet. Every officer stopped what they were doing. No one spoke to a superior that way. No one questioned the chain of command. Wu finally turned to face her. His expression was unreadable. "You believe we should disobey direct orders." Stood her ground. "I believe that some orders should never be given, and some silences speak louder than words. When the Admiral stays quiet while civilizations burn, his silence becomes an answer I cannot accept." "And what would you have us do, Captain?" Wu asked. Charge into battle alone, split our forces, leave Earth defenseless. I would have us be human, replied. 400 years ago, when the swarm first came, nobody helped us. We fought alone because there was nobody to help. But now there are trillions of beings who need us. We cannot become what the galaxy was to us. We cannot let history repeat. Wu was quiet for a long moment. Around them, the crew pretended to work while listening to every word. Come with me, Wu finally said. He walked toward the observation deck at the top of the station, followed without question. When they arrived, they were alone. Great windows showed the stars in every direction. Earth hung below them like a blue jewel. Do you know why I joined the military? Wu asked. No, Commander. My grandmother was a survivor of the First War, he said slowly. She was 7 years old when the swarm came. She watched her parents die. She watched her city burn. She spent 3 years hiding in underground shelters, eating whatever she could find, waiting for the monsters to leave. Listened in silence. After the war, nobody believed her, Wu continued. The galaxy said it never happened. They called her a liar. They called all of us liars. For 400 years, our pain was treated as fantasy. Our trauma was dismissed as imagination. I understand the anger, said carefully, but anger cannot guide us now. It is not anger, Wu replied. It is exhaustion. I am tired of humanity always being the ones who sacrifice. I am tired of us saving those who would never save us. I am tired of our kindness being repaid with mockery. He turned to face her directly. But you are right. We cannot become what hurt us. We cannot let pain make us cruel. A communication signal interrupted them. One's voice came through the speaker. Commander, Admiral Ho is calling a meeting of all senior officers. He will address the fleet in 1 hour. Wu looked at. It seems the Admiral has made his decision. Let us hope it is the right one. 1 hour later, every screen on every ship in Earth's fleet showed the same image. Admiral Ho standing in the central broadcast room. Ambassador stood at his side. Behind them, the flag of Earth hung on the wall. Officers and crew of Earth's defense fleet, Ho began. 3 days ago, I asked you to wait. 3 days ago, I told you that Earth would consider the Council's request for help. That consideration has ended. He paused. Every soul in the fleet held their breath. For 400 years, the Galactic Council, our history, they called us liars. They dismissed our warnings. They laughed when we told them what was coming. They had 6 months to prepare. They did nothing. Ho's eyes hardened. They have paid for their arrogance with blood. 500 billion dead. 12 civilizations destroyed. The greatest powers in the galaxy reduced to screaming refugees. Some of you believe we should let them burn, Ho continued. Some of you say they deserve their fate, that every death is justice for their pride. I understand this feeling. I have felt it myself. He took a deep breath. But we are not them. We are humanity. We are the species that survived the unsurvivable. We are the children of Earth, born on and forged by struggle. Our strength is not just in our weapons. Our strength is in our hearts. Stepped forward. Her voice was steady despite the weight of the moment. Admiral Ho has asked me to share my perspective, she said. I am not a soldier. I am a diplomat. I have spent my life trying to build bridges between species. Often, those bridges have been burned by others, but I keep building them anyway. Do you know why? She continued. Because that is what makes us different. The Council looks at the universe and sees threats to be managed. Humanity looks at the universe and sees hands to be held. We reach out even when we are slapped away. We offer kindness even when we receive cruelty. Some call this weakness, said. I call it strength. The strength to be better than our enemies. The strength to be better than our allies. The strength to save those who would never save us. Because in the end, that is what makes us human. Ho stepped forward again. I have made my decision. Earth's fleet will deploy immediately. We will engage the void swarm at the sector. We will fight with everything we have." The fleet held its breath. "But hear me clearly," Ho's voice turned cold. "We do this on our terms. We do not answer to the Council. We do not take orders from species who laughed at our warnings. When this war is over, the galaxy will know that humanity saved them, not because they asked, not because they deserved it, but because we chose to. We will remind the universe why they should have listened to us from the beginning. We will show them the power they dismissed as primitive. And when the smoke clears, when the swarm is destroyed, we will look at the survivors and say one thing." Ho leaned toward the camera. "We warned you, now you will remember." He straightened his uniform. "All ships prepare for jump coordinates. We launch in 4 hours. Fleet Admiral Ho signing off." The screens went dark. In the command center, Wu looked at his crew. They looked back at him with determination in their eyes. Fear too, but mostly determination. "You heard the Admiral," Wu said. "Battle stations, we have work to do." Captain smiled for the first time in days. "Commander, thank you." "Thank me when we survive," Wu replied. "This battle will be unlike anything we have faced. The swarm is vast. Our losses will be heavy. Many of us will not come home." "We know," one spoke up. "We know and we are ready." Wu nodded slowly. "Then let us show the galaxy what humans are made of." He turned to the windows. Somewhere out there, trillions of beings waited for salvation. Most had never met a human. Most knew nothing about Earth. They would die without ever knowing who saved them. But humanity would know, and that was enough. "Navigation," Wu commanded. "Set course for the sector, maximum speed." "Course set, Commander." "Communications, send a message to all surviving Council species. Tell them help is coming. Tell them Earth has not forgotten them." "Yes, Commander." Wu sat in his command chair. The engines hummed to life. The great ship began to move. "And tell them one more thing," he added quietly. "Tell them we expect them to remember this day, forever." The fleet jumped through space like arrows fired from a bow. Hundreds of warships, thousands of support vessels, the largest military force humanity had ever assembled, all of them racing toward a battle that might end their species forever. Admiral Ho stood on the bridge of the flagship. The ship was called the Dawn of Hope. It was the most powerful vessel Earth had ever built. Weapons covered every surface. Shields hummed with energy. The crew moved with purpose and discipline. Ambassador watched from the observation area. She was not a military person. She did not belong on a warship, but Ho had asked her to come, and she could not refuse. "Approaching the sector," the navigation officer reported. "Long-range sensors show the swarm has spread across 40 star systems. They are moving toward the remaining Council species." "How many survivors?" Ho asked. "Approximately 200 billion scattered across refugee camps and damaged stations. The Council military is destroyed. They have no defense left." Felt her stomach twist. 200 billion was a lot, but it was less than half of what the Council population had been just a week ago. "Open a channel to all ships," Ho commanded. The communication officer nodded. "Channel open, Admiral." Ho walked to the center of the bridge. His voice carried to every ship in the fleet. "Officers and crew of Earth's fleet, in a few hours we will engage the Void Swarm. Many of you have trained your whole lives for this moment. Others are facing combat for the first time. Whatever your experience, hear me now." He paused for effect. 400 years ago our ancestors faced this enemy alone. They had no advanced weapons, no shields, no allies. They had only their courage and their will to survive. Against impossible odds they won. They pushed the swarm back. They saved our world. Today, we carry their legacy. We fight not just for Earth, but for all the species who cannot fight for themselves. We fight for the children who will never know what happened here. We fight because that is what humans do. A young weapons officer named listened carefully. He was only 22 years old. This was his first real battle. His hands shook slightly as he checked his console. "Be afraid," Ho continued as if reading his thoughts. "Fear is natural, fear keeps us sharp. But do not let fear control you. Let it fuel you. Let it remind you what you are fighting for: your families, your homes, your species, your honor." The swarm does not know fear. They do not understand mercy. They only consume. But we will teach them something new today. We will teach them what happens when you threaten humanity. We will teach them that some prey fights back. Ho raised his voice. Today, the galaxy learns why humans are called. Today, they see the fire that burns in our hearts. Today, they witness the rage of a species pushed too far. All ships prepare for battle. This is Admiral Ho. May fortune favor us all. The channel closed. The fleet continued forward. On a refugee station near the battle zone, High Speaker watched the human ships approach. He had escaped his council station just before the swarm consumed it. Now he floated in space with millions of others, waiting to die. "They came," his aide whispered in disbelief. "The humans actually came." Said nothing. He felt shame so deep it burned in his chest. He had laughed at these people. He had called them primitive. He had ignored their warning and condemned the galaxy to death. Now they were here to save him anyway. "High Speaker," a communication officer called out. "The human fleet is requesting to speak with you." Straightened his torn robes. He tried to look dignified despite everything. "Put them through." Admiral Ho's face appeared on the screen. His expression was hard but not cruel. "High Speaker," Ho said, "Earth's fleet has arrived." Admiral struggled to find words. "I do not know what to say. After everything we did, everything I said, you still came. Why?" Ho was quiet for a moment. "Because letting you die would not bring back the trust you broke. Because revenge does not rebuild what was lost. Because our children deserve a galaxy where species help each other, even when they have been hurt." Felt tears forming in his eyes. He had never cried before. His species considered tears to be shameful weakness. "We do not deserve this," admitted. "No," Ho agreed. "You do not, but we are not doing this for you. We are doing this for us, for who we want to be, for the kind of species we choose to become." He leaned forward slightly. "When this battle ends, assuming we survive, things will be different. The Council will reform under new leadership. Humanity will have a seat at the table equal to any other species. Our history will be acknowledged. Our warnings will never be ignored again." "Yes," agreed immediately. "Whatever you want, anything." "I do not want your promises made in fear," Ho replied. "I want your understanding made in gratitude. I want you to remember this feeling, the helplessness, the desperation, the terror of watching your people die while you can do nothing. Remember it," Ho continued. "And the next time some young species comes to you with a warning, the next time someone tells you about a threat you have never seen, remember how it felt to be dismissed. Remember how it felt to have your screams ignored." Nodded slowly. "I will remember, I swear it." "Then we have an understanding," Ho said. "Now stay out of the combat zone. Protect your refugees. Let humanity do what we do best." The channel closed. On the dawn of hope, Commander Wu reported from the tactical station. "Admiral, the swarm is aware of our approach. They are changing formation. It looks like they are preparing to engage." "How many?" Ho asked. "Conservative estimate, 12 million individual creatures, each one capable of destroying a small ship on its own." Captain looked at the numbers with wide eyes. "We have 3,000 ships against 12 million creatures. Those odds are impossible." "Impossible odds are human specialty," Ho replied with a thin smile. "Our weapons were designed specifically for this enemy. Our shields were built to resist their attacks. Every advantage they have, we have countered. Every weakness they possess, we will exploit." "It will still be brutal," Wu warned. "We will lose ships, many ships." "I know." Ho turned to face his crew. "Everyone on this bridge volunteered for this mission. Everyone in this fleet chose to be here. We came to fight. We came to win. We came to show the universe that when humanity makes a promise, we keep it. Young gripped his weapon's console. His hands had stopped shaking. In their place was a steady determination. Admiral spoke up. Weapons are charged and ready, all firing solutions calculated. On your order, we will make them remember the name of Earth. Ho looked at the young officer with something like pride. Hold that fire until we are in optimal range. When I give the signal, every ship fires at once. We hit them with everything in one coordinated strike. Understood, Admiral. The swarm grew larger on the screens, dark shapes moving through space like a living ocean. No ship formations, no military discipline, just hunger and instinct driving them forward. All ships report ready, Wu announced. Ho took his command chair. He looked at the enemy before them, the thing that had haunted humanity's nightmares for 4 centuries, the monster that had almost destroyed them once before. Today is the day we end this, he said quietly. Today is the day humanity closes this chapter forever. Ambassador moved to stand beside him. Are you afraid, Admiral? Ho considered the question. Terrified, he admitted. But I am also proud, proud to serve with these people, proud to fight for this cause, proud to be human. Then we are ready, said. Ho nodded. He opened the fleet channel one final time. All ships, this is Admiral Ho. The enemy is before us. The galaxy watches. Our ancestors stand behind us in spirit. Let us make them proud. He raised his hand. For Earth, for humanity, for the future we will build from the ashes of this day. His hand dropped. Open fire. And the stars themselves seemed to burn. The battle raged for 7 days. 7 days of constant fighting, 7 days of explosions and screams and death, 7 days that would echo through galactic history forever. The human fleet struck the swarm like a hammer hitting glass. The first wave of attacks killed 2 million creatures in seconds. Weapons designed 400 years ago, improved and perfected over generations, tore through the enemy with terrible efficiency. But the swarm was vast. For every creature that fell, 10 more surged forward. They crashed against human shields. They wrapped around ships and tried to crush them. They sacrificed thousands of themselves just to reach a single target. The dawn of hope shook from another impact. Admiral Ho gripped his command chair as the ship twisted through debris. Damage report, he demanded. Forward shields at 40%, Wu responded. We have lost contact with 17 ships in our sector, confirmed destruction of another 12. And the swarm? Approximately 9 million remaining. They are adapting to our weapons, becoming harder to kill. Ho had expected this. The swarm learned. They changed. What worked against them today might fail tomorrow. That was why the first war had been so terrible. That was why humanity had almost lost. Tell the science division to prepare adaptation protocols, Ho ordered. We change weapon frequencies every hour, keep them guessing, keep them dying. Yes, Admiral. On the weapons deck, Young had not slept in 4 days. His eyes were red. His fingers were raw from operating his console, but he kept firing. Every shot counted. Every dead creature was one less threat to the people he loved. A massive swarm creature appeared on his targeting screen. It was heading directly for a transport ship carrying wounded soldiers. I see you, muttered. He adjusted his aim carefully. The creature was fast, smart. It dodged most of the shots aimed at it. But had watched these things for days now. He understood their patterns. He knew how they moved. He fired 3 shots in a spread pattern. The creature dodged the first 2, exactly as he expected. The third shot caught it directly in its center mass. It exploded in a flash of dark energy. Transport is clear, reported, returning to general defense. Nobody congratulated him. There was no time, but he knew he had just saved 50 lives, That was enough. Captain commanded a squadron of fast attack ships. They darted through the swarm like needles, hitting vital targets and retreating before the enemy could respond. "Squadron 7, on me," she called through her communicator. "We have a cluster forming near the refugee stations. We need to break it up before they attack." Her ships followed her into the darkness. The swarm creatures were everywhere. Space itself seemed alive with hungry shadows. "Fire on my mark," commanded. 3, 2, 1, mark. 12 ships fired at once. The cluster shattered. Creatures spun away in all directions, damaged and confused. "Good hits," said. "Circle back and finish them." A warning alarm screamed in her cockpit. A swarm creature had gotten behind her. It was approaching fast. "Squadron 7, I have a tail. Need assistance." Before anyone could respond, another ship appeared beside her. It fired directly at the creature chasing her, destroying it instantly. "This is Commander Wu," a voice came through her communicator. "Pay attention to your surroundings, Captain. You cannot lead if you are dead." Felt a mix of embarrassment and gratitude. "Thank you, Commander. It will not happen again." See that it does not. His ship peeled away to engage another target. The battle continued. Day after day, night after night, human ships fell. Human soldiers died, but they kept fighting. They never stopped. They never retreated. On the 5th day, something changed. The swarm began to hesitate. Their attacks became less coordinated. Their movements more confused. After millions of years of consuming everything in their path, they had finally met something that would not be consumed. They had met humanity. Admiral Ho noticed the change immediately. "They are breaking," he said. "They do not know how to handle an enemy that fights back this hard." "Should we press the attack?" Wu asked. "Yes," Ho stood from his chair. "All ships full offensive, push them back. Do not give them time to recover. End this now." The human fleet surged forward. 3,000 ships became a single weapon. They drove into the swarm like a knife into flesh, cutting deeper and deeper. On the 7th day, the last swarm creature died. It happened quietly. A single shot from a damaged ship called the New Soul. The creature twisted in space, then went still. Its body drifted away into the darkness. For a long moment nobody spoke. Nobody cheered. They were too tired, too broken, too overwhelmed by what they had lost. Then's voice came through the communication channel. "Is it over? Did we win?" Ho looked at the empty space where millions of enemies had been. "Yes," he said quietly, "we won." The cheering started slowly. One ship, then another, then hundreds. Exhausted crews screaming with relief and joy, tears flowing freely, hands clasped in celebration. The void swarm was destroyed, forever. But the cost had been terrible. Of the 3,000 ships that entered battle, only 1,800 remained. Of the 2 million humans who fought, nearly 500,000 were dead. Names that would never be spoken again, faces that would never be seen, families that would never be whole. Ambassador found Ho alone in his quarters after the battle. He was staring at a list on his screen, the list of the dead. "Admiral," she said softly, "the Council survivors are requesting to meet with you. They want to thank you personally." Ho did not look up. "They can wait." Sat down beside him. "You saved the galaxy. You should be proud." "I sent 500,000 people to their deaths." His voice was hollow. "Young men and women with their whole lives ahead of them. Parents who will never see their children grow up. Children who will never see their parents again." "They knew the cost," reminded him. "They chose to fight anyway. They died as heroes." "Heroes?" Ho finally looked at her. Such a small word for such a heavy burden. "History will remember this battle as a great victory, but I will remember it as the day I ordered the deaths of 500,000 people I was supposed to protect." Took his hand. "That is the burden of command. The burden you carry so that others do not have to. It is not fair, it is not kind, but it is necessary." Ho was silent for a long time. Then he squeezed her hand gently. "Come," he said finally. "Let us go meet the council. Let us show them what humanity has paid for their survival. Let us make sure they never forget." The meeting took place on the damaged council station. What remained of it? 12 species had entered this war. Only 7 remained. The others were extinct, gone forever. High Speaker stood before the human delegation. His once proud posture was bent with grief and shame. Behind him, representatives of the surviving species watched in silence. "Admiral Ho," began, "on behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer our deepest gratitude and our most sincere apology. You warned us. We did not listen. You saved us anyway. We do not deserve your mercy." Ho stepped forward. His uniform was torn. His face was from a close explosion. He looked like what he was, a warrior who had been to hell and back. "High Speaker," Ho said, "humanity did not save you because you deserved it. We saved you because we could, because no one else would, because that is who we are." He looked around at the gathered aliens. "But understand this. Things have changed. The old council is dead. Its arrogance burned with the worlds it lost. From this day forward, humanity will have an equal voice in galactic affairs. Our warnings will be heard. Our history will be honored. Our sacrifices will be remembered." "Yes," agreed immediately. "Whatever you demand." "I do not make demands," Ho corrected. "I make promises, and I promise you this. If any species ever again dismisses a warning from the young or the weak or the different, humanity will remember. If any species ever again laughs at those who are trying to help, humanity will remember." He leaned forward, his eyes hard as steel. "We warned you. You did not listen. Now it is too late to undo what was lost, but it is not too late to learn. Do not waste this second chance. Do not make us regret giving it to you." Bow deeply. "We will learn, Admiral, I swear it." Ho nodded slowly. Then, for the first time since the battle began, he allowed himself a small smile. "Then perhaps there is hope for this galaxy after all." He turned and walked back to his ship. Behind him, the survivors of a dozen worlds watched him go. They would tell stories about this day for thousands of years, about the humans who came when no one else would, who fought when no one else could, who saved those who had mocked them. Earth's last message to the Council had been a warning. They had not listened, but now, finally, they understood. Some warnings should never be ignored. Some species should never be underestimated. And humanity, for all its flaws, would always be there when the universe needed them most. The dawn of hope jumped toward home. Behind it, a galaxy began the long work of rebuilding. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the memory of the void swarm faded into history. But the memory of humanity burned brighter than ever.